Are tractors dumb? A couple of years ago, I thought that tractors were dumb and obsolete because in this day and age we got indoor farming, right? We got vertical and hydroponics and aeroponics and fogponics, and I read 2 weeks ago about robotics, which supposed to rotate the plant so you get much more mass per square foot of light. You get your stand with your plants, but instead of it being lit 360, it rotates or revolves and there is just one light. And I thought that when we got this, there is no need for tractors anymore. We gonna eat only indoor farming, indoor farmed foods, crops. We can start to abandon the old farming system, which is with a tractor on a field, or basically farming on a field, but in the last century tractors were developed, so now the standard farming system is with a tractor on the field. I thought that this is how it was done in the past and we don't need to do it like that anymore. And that indoor farming is the clear future and we should strive for that right now. And there were some points why I thought that indoor farming is way better than farming on the field. And the points are still there because it still uses much less land for the amount of produce that you harvest. It also uses much less water. Some people say it's 95% less water than conventional growing, which also what does conventionally grown mean, but I guess everybody assumes that conventional growing means growing it on a field. I talked about that with JC Chiliak earlier this year, and he told me that he looked into that himself. He works in the indoor farming industry, but he didn't want to just take somebody's word for it. He researched it himself and found that, for example, vertically farmed salads use only 70% less water instead of the 95% or something like that, because you have to clean the facility and that's done with water. You have to do all sorts of other stuff with water involved on a vertical farm than just making the nutritional solution so that the crops or the salads can grow. That counts also towards the production cost, so might be only 70% less water usage than conventional growing in a vertical facility. However, that's still something. 70% less water, that's still something, but it's not that nice as the 95. But there comes the major point. I'm sure I've said it many times already on this channel, that although it's rainbows and sunshine and great and everything, basically you can grow only salads or other leafy greens. And me myself, I can't exactly be alive from leafy greens only. So that sucks. Then we get to indoor grown meat, because that's something I was stoked about. I was very big on indoor meat a couple of years ago. 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2 years ago, I believe I was still very big on indoor meat. But over the 2 years, I believe I grew a bit smarter and I learned a couple of things, and I'm not sure I do want to eat indoor meat anymore. I never tasted it, just to be clear. I never tasted it. I never got the chance to do it. But I'm not sure if I got the chance right now if I would like to use it. I think I would just pass. The whole process sounds weird, like you got the cells and then you put it into a bioreactor, and then yeah, that's how things work, and I believe it works. Like I know it works like that. I just can show you. Just this week, I got my diploma from my agricultural biology. So now I'm a bachelor in science, in agricultural biology. However, I don't think I would like to eat lab-grown meat. What I would eat is the soybean protein, or whatever it's called, the protein from the bacteria, like protein from thin air or something like that. It's a European company from Norway or Finland or maybe Denmark. Well, so some of these states. They just get bacteria, I don't know what bacteria that is, but they get the bacteria and they let it grow, and it's like 40% protein or something. I would eat that. I don't see anything bad about it. Also, I haven't studied it that much. I did a video on the soybean. To me, it's much more palatable. The idea is much more palatable. Basically, that's natural. Like the bacteria, I would think about that as making yeast, for example. Or when you want to bake a bread, you put yeast into a bowl and you add sugar and maybe warm milk or warm water or something warm so that the yeast activates itself, usually stored in a fridge. You give it the sugar so that the yeast can eat something and multiply. And that's basically the starter for your sourdough bread, if I'm not mistaken. I think about the soybean protein as something very much similar to this process. You get the bacteria, put it into a bioreactor, which is like the bowl, except it's way bigger. And I don't know what they feed it, but I guess sugar or something. Well, something more or less similar, or at least the process is very much similar. And the bacteria just grows and grows and grows, and then you harvest it, and then you make powder out of that. Yeast is very much the same. That's also microbes. So I don't see anything bad about eating microbes. We do it already. We've been doing it for millennia, I would say, at least centuries. That's why I think that the soybean protein is natural. However, when you take cells out of a cow or a chicken or something and put it into a bioreactor and give some sort of feed to those cells so that they grow and multiply, don't know. It sounds disgusting to me, to be honest. Wouldn't eat it. Don't want to eat it. I would much rather eat a pastured cow. That's what I want. A nice pastured, free range, organic, whatever. No, just a cow that was raised whole life on a pasture. And of course, when there is hard winters, of course, you don't want to have the cow on a pasture, except the Highland cows, but whatever. A cow that was properly pastured throughout its life, that's perfect for me. But then we have greenhouses. Greenhouses are, in my opinion, sort of like a step closing the gap between field growing and proper full-on vertical farms. I like greenhouses, but also you can't really grow that much stuff in there, or at least the most economically viable crops that are being grown in a greenhouse are tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers. You can make only salad out of that, and I mean, yeah, if you got the pastured beef to eat with that, could work, but to be alive from only 3 crops, which is peppers and tomatoes and cucumbers and salad from like lettuce from a vertical farm, that doesn't sound very good to me. Of course, I believe that indoor farming will be much better in the future once we know how to grow a plethora of other crops. And I'm looking forward to it, and I still wanna be working in the indoor farming industry. But this was my explanation of how I came to the opinion that tractors are, funnily enough, of course, still very much important and very much useful and very much not outdated, because tractors are basically the only way we are still alive. as humanity. Of course, you got smallholder farmers with 1 acre or 2 acres or something like that where you don't really need a tractor. But mechanization comes in handy everywhere. They got some tools anyway, so I view a tractor just as a tool to farm better and more effectively. And why I actually like tractors, like when you look at the big machines with the big engines and or motors for my European viewers, it's sexy, like a big machine making noise. I like that. But what's even better, that tractors are actually the reason that me, you, and everyone you meet throughout the day can eat, can have some stuff on their plate every day. And I find that extremely valuable, of course. So all praise to the tractors, I guess, and to the farmers that drive them. That was that. Thanks for watching.